From the edge of the unknown, where the signal cuts through the silence of the night, a voice returns, broadcasting once again from the capital city of Columbia, South Carolina. This is the return of a show that doesn't follow the rules and doesn't back away from the questions most won't even ask. Paranormal encounters, UFO disclosures, hidden history, and the mysteries that refuse to stay buried. This is Late Night in the Midlands with Mike Vara. Tonight, the signal opens again, and anything can happen once the lights go down and the phones light up. Prepare yourself, because once this broadcast begins, you may not hear what you expect, but you will hear what others are afraid to say. The show is about to begin.
Evening or morning, depending on where you might be on this this blue spaceship we're floating around on. I'm Mike Vara, coming to you live from the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, located on the east coast of the United States. And late night in the Midlands. It's Wednesday night, and I have a great guest going to be joining us. Tonight's journey takes us into, I'd say one of the darkest and most controversial subjects we've ever explored. Well, we've explored it a few times, I guess, with Robert Stanley. And, we get deep. So, what if many of the struggles people blame on stress, or depression, addiction, or bad luck have a much deeper spiritual source? Could unseen entities known throughout history as influence, could they influence humans, thoughts, emotions, even behavioral type things? Can they influence all that? Archons, demons, parasitic intelligence. That's kind of what we're going to be discussing here tonight. And actually, to the program is researcher joining us. That is researcher and author Robert Stanley, whose latest work dives even deeper into these mystery, or mysterious, maybe I should say, forces, demonic attachments. I'm trying to find the right, there we go, there it is. Demonic, I'll tell you, technology and old people, just spiritual warfare, for instance, and the hidden battle taking place all around us. And it does seem like there is a hidden battle, whether you approach this from a religious perspective, ancient history, psychology, or maybe just simply curiosity. Tonight's discussion promises to challenge what you think you know about the unseen world. And so I'd say dim the lights, pour yourself another cup of coffee, preferably some late night in the Midlands coffee if you got some. Lock the doors if it makes you feel better, because we're about to step into territory where faith, fear, and the unknown collide. Robert Stanley joins us in just a little bit. And I'll say it's been a little while since I've talked with Robert, so I'm looking forward to it myself. Orcas. These orcas, man. Something's ticked them off, boy. These orcas have started targeting boats. I mean, they were doing it in just one area at one point. Now it's in multiple regions. They're ramming hulls and disabling rudders and coordinated ways too. It's like they're like huddling up and discussing what they're going to do, and then they do it. It's suggested that it's learned behavior. That's right. It's learned behavior. Like they're teaching each other. Now, if there's a whale broadcast going on down there, and all the whales around the ocean are starting to get the message, because I wouldn't see, man. I'll stay on land. You can. The ocean's beautiful. I love to be on the beach looking at it. I don't want to be flying over it. I don't want to be swimming under it or sailing under it, and I don't want to be sailing on it. There's just too many things that can happen. If it ain't a storm or a wild current or a rogue wave, it's a shark or a whale, or the Loch Ness monster comes out and just takes you down, and everyone just don't know whatever happened to you. Yeah, these things, they're at it, boy. They're knocking these boats over. I mean, that's scary. I mean, you tip a boat over here in the water. Sometimes they just grab you by the ankle and, take you down, drown you. And what makes this even more unusual is how consistently these interactions are happening, as if it's spreading between pods. Like, they're getting the message around. Scientists still don't fully understand the cause, but it's clear this isn't random behavior anymore. Something has changed. They're smart, they're intelligent, and they're sick of the bull, Like, get the hell out of here. That's their backyard. They're sick of you intruding. And then, all these things that happen, I'm sure the word gets around about the Cove and things like that, where they beat these dolphins and, they capture whales to put them in shows like SeaWorld and things like that. So I'm sure the word gets around. They are intelligent. They're not stupid animals. Alright, so the U.S. military launched another round of strikes against Iran late Wednesday night, U.S. Central Command said, in the second night of attacks, as diplomacy between the two countries has appeared to collapse. Apparently, Iran not sticking to their guns, and I don't know. They don't have any cards. Like they've got a losing hand, and I don't know. I'd be waving the white flag if it was me, but it's not me, I guess. It's not me. So. CENTCOM said on X that Wednesday's strikes are intended to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. And it said that these strikes were ordered by President Trump and are in response to Iranian attacks on 3 commercial oil tankers earlier in the week. The Iranian state media outlets reported that explosions were heard in several cities, including the southern port city of Bandar Abbas. Bandar Abbas. Ain't gonna be nothing left of that place. What are you gonna do? We always need more parking space, I guess. The CIA asked remote viewers to look beneath the Earth, and what they reported was pretty bizarre. In the Cold War era, the CIA funded some of the most unusual intelligence experiments in American history. Through programs involving remote viewing, researchers who tested whether psychics could gather information about distant locations using only their minds. And now, decades later, declassified files revealed reports that went far beyond military targets and espionage. Some remote viewers claimed they discovered vast underground facilities, hidden bases, and even non-human entities operating beneath the Earth's surface. Look at that, David. You're not crazy, David. Were these genuine intelligence investigations, imaginative interpretations, or something stranger? No, I think they're exactly what they said they are. I think they did see these things. And so apparently there's some videos too out there too, so you can go check it out, you know. Just look for CIA Ask Remote Viewers, you know. I'm sure it'll come up. Interesting stuff. I mean, they're interested in a lot of stuff. A lot of this stuff. All these things we talk about, they've had an interest in them. They just, you know, the psyop is, oh, that's nonsense. First look at Earth's second moon revealed in a satellite image for the first time ever. Chinese researchers have captured the first ever close-up images of the rare mini-moon that's tracing circles around Earth. So we got a little mini-moon. They said it has an elliptical orbit every 45 years. So, I don't know. You know, they get these little objects and you call them moons. I mean, if it's the size of an asteroid, I wouldn't call it a moon. Just like our moon, it's hard for me to call that. I mean, it's like the darn thing's like a planet, you know? Then you look at Jupiter. Looks like a star that didn't quite get there, you know? And all these moons probably would have been planets, some of these things. I don't know, how many has it got? It's got something like 90 something they found so far? I don't know. It's crazy. Warning as deadly fungal storms sweep America with toxic dust-carrying disease. Now we got to worry about fungal storms. Fungal storms. Giant storms filled with potentially deadly fungal spores are set to sweep across at least 11 U.S. states this summer, with the worst conditions still weeks away. Oh, wonderful news. Meteorologists and health experts have warned that dust storms in the southwest will stir up dangerous fungal spores from the soil through September, potentially exposing millions to valley fever. You don't want valley fever. This common illness is a lung infection caused by breathing in microscopic fungus particles that live in dry soil, frequently blown around by strong desert winds. I'm telling you, this planet, it doesn't seem like this planet was made for us. It's so dangerous to us. It's got so many things on it that could kill us instantly. I don't know. That's like putting a fly in a fly trap and saying, oh yeah, you were meant to be here. I don't know. Was he? Was he really? This Earth, it's a very interesting place, and it seems to be a very hostile place to the human being. Yeah, we're a hostile race of people too, but you know, the planet is just, you know, you never know. All of a sudden it shakes and opens up and swallows you. Look at those years ago, the guy in Florida, a sinkhole opened up below his bedroom. He just went in to go to bed, and a sinkhole opened up. They never did find him. They don't know how deep he went. They never found him. Went to bed and never woke up. Oop, goodbye. I mean, just that quick. I don't know. I think we come from somewhere else. All right, well, let's take a break, and then when I come back, I will bring Robert Stanley on with me. I am looking forward to talking to the man Robert. It's been a little while, so we'll see what's going on. All right. So this is Late Night in the Midlands. It's Wednesday night, and well, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go away.
Can you feel them watching, waiting, listening? When the lights go out, when the world falls asleep, the questions wake up. What's hiding just beyond what your eyes can see? Tonight we're crossing forbidden lines into stories of unseen forces, ancient mysteries, and whispered warnings. Some call them Archons, some speak of dark attachments, others say they're only legends.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Here at Late Night in the Midlands, we believe in truth, awareness, and taking care of our minds and bodies. That's why I'm proud to share Mike Vara's long-standing friendship and partnership with Dr. Leonard Horowitz and his Healthy World store. Dr. Horowitz and Mike go way back. They've supported each other through the years because they share the same mission, bringing people the truth and helping them live healthier, stronger lives. His products are crafted with your health in mind, using the highest quality natural ingredients that you can feel good about putting into your body. When you shop at the Healthy World store, you're not just making a choice for your health, you're also supporting Late Night in the Midlands and the VAR network. Every purchase helps us keep the truth on the air and the conversation alive. So do something good for yourself and for independent media. Visit the Healthy World store today, and let's keep both your body and the truth strong. HealthyWorldStore.com, health for you, support for us. Just click on the Healthy World store banner on the homepage of our website, MikeVara.com.
I'm Art Bell, and you're listening to Late Night in the Midlands with Mike Vara.
Every second counts, so why not make it count in style? The Late Night in the Midlands wall clock isn't just for telling time, it's a statement piece that shows the world you support alternative media. With a sturdy wooden frame, sleek plexiglass face, and a silent mechanism, it's perfect for any room. From your home office to your favorite hangout spot. Easy to hang with a pre-installed hook and built to last, this clock blends practicality with personality. Time waits for no one. Grab yours today at MikeVara.com and make every second a part of the movement. Late Night in the Midlands. Time well spent.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
You're listening to the VARA network. From the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, on the east coast of these United States, you're tuned in to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Mike Vara. To ask a question to Mike, just send your questions through the Late Night portal located on our homepage at www.mikevara.com.
And somewhere in the shadows we listened child. Bigfoot in the forest, strange lights overhead, ghosts along the highway, whispers from the dead. King of the night, keeper of the flame.
All right, we are back. This is Late Night in the Midlands. I am Mike Vara, and we're about ready to get this thing rolling here with my guest, my special guest, Robert Stanley. Get over to my website, MikeVara.com. Become a late nighter. Be informed. And, one of the ways you could do that is to go down to the newsletter, which is down at the bottom of the website, and sign up for that, because you never know when we're going to get, you never know, things go back to major censorship or what have you, and something like that happens. That's the only way I'm going to be able to get to you, right, is through those means. So do it, please. And while you're at it, if you like the content that we throw down at you here, the guests that we have on, the topics we cover, help us out a little bit, go hit that donate button on MikeVara.com. Every little bit helps us, so we can continue to do what we do here. We've got a network of shows that run, and we don't charge them nothing. We archive that we put out there, don't charge nobody nothing for it. We just ask that you hit that donate button once in a while, because that's what keeps the fuel in the tank here. All right, so let's all right, let me get organized here. I think, yes, indeed. Yeah, all right. And let's see if we got Robert here yet. Yeah, he's waiting in the wings. Good evening, Robert. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a little while. So
Yeah.
I figured, a lot's been going on too. So plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
Let me get you up here on the camera here, so everyone can see both of us. Just you can't see me right now.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right. Oh, wrong. I'm still trying to get used. I got a new setup here, so I'm still trying to get used to. I'm going to the wrong keyboards, going to the wrong mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too old for this. Yeah. So, anyways, Robert, listen. Thank you so much for being here, and I guess good place to start is what have you been working on as of late? What's on your radar?
That's a good question. How do I answer that? Okay, so I'm the host of the Salvation Report. I put everything Unicus behind me. Unicus Magazine is no longer available. Unicusmagazine.com is offline because last year, when my wife contracted cancer, we ended up going to a deliverance ministry, and I thought I was there to save my wife, and actually I got saved and baptized and delivered while I was there.
Cool.
Well, I mean, she got the full treatment too, but that's not how she survived the cancer. It was definitely God at work, but not in the way we were hoping and praying for a miracle.
Yeah.
And which would have been nice, I think, preferable to radical surgery, which did save her life ultimately. But after that was over and she was in recovery, I said to God, why didn't you just heal her, perform a miracle? And the answer I got back just absolutely floored me, Mike.
Yeah.
He told me that it would have ruined her life. And I'm like, what? What?
Oh, that's mind blowing.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. And then he said, I was so confused, and he just said very simply, your wife prefers privacy over publicity. If I had done that for her with all the medical reports that she's already generated, it would have gone around the world. There's no way to hide it. And she would have had no more privacy in her life, and that actually would have been a form of torture. And neither my wife or I had even thought that through. We didn't even realize the implications of what we were asking for, but God knew. God knew. So I'm giving you this as an illustration since you asked. It's like, I've told you this before, but I had a close encounter with Christ back in on a mountaintop in 1985 after saving a boy's life. However, I rejected his offer to have a relationship with him at that time because I was scared and confused. And 40 years later, which would only be an hour in his time, I was once again faced with a life and death situation, not for me, but for someone else. And this time, this someone else is my wife. I've been married to since 1990. And, or actually, I met her in 1990. Sorry. We've been together since 1990, right? But it's kind of a long time in Earth years. But
Yeah.
I mean, I sincerely love her. I didn't know the little boy I mean, not that it really matters, but I'm just saying there's a distinction there. All right. So last year, I was trying to do whatever I could to help her, but ultimately I was the one that needed help also. And I just didn't realize it because I was so caught up in my own ego. And I was never really comfortable with a lot of the religious concepts of God, the way it was presented, so I always had an alternative viewpoint. And I'm not saying I'm a fundamentalist now, because people, if you say, oh, you're a Christian, really, like, what kind? Meaning, really, seriously, a lot of people do that. They're like, well, are you a this, are you a that? And I'm like, okay, if you want to put a label on it, I have to say I'm an unorthodox Christian because I still don't follow the denominations, the doctrines, and dogma.
Robert, I was looking at a list the other day. It said of Christianity, and there was a long list of different Baptist, Catholic, blah, blah, blah.
And they don't get along, man. They really don't. It's true for Judaism as well as the Islamists. They don't. Islam has over 70 different versions, and we know for sure at least two of them hate each other. Excuse me, the Sunni and the Shia. They absolutely want to kill each other because, like, I'm right, you're wrong. No, I'm wrong. You're right. Whatever. It's like so. There's and I do have a pastor now. After that event, but so he told me, he goes, well, there's a reason there's over 4,000 religions on this planet. It is not God doing it. It's the other guy. It's the other team that is doing this. It's called divide and conquer. So, and it obviously works really well. You see it's still playing out in the Middle East and to some extent over in Ukraine. And even here, we're really under assault by these different factions. And they are religiously motivated, but it's really an evil spirit. Here's the way my pastor told me. He goes, a person is either filled with the Holy Spirit of God or the unholy spirits of God's adversary, because this is a battlefield. I'm sure you've noticed, and I kind of always knew this, but I didn't have the specifics on it. And so this was the other thing that absolutely floored me. After I went through this, first it was my wife did a week of her work. I mean, she was already saved, but she'd never been baptized or delivered. So she did her thing first, and then I went the second week. And but after that, my pastor says to me, look, I offer free. I'm going to offer you this study course. And I mean, it's like going to college. It really is. And he was like, and treating us like he was our professor, and we would meet once a week and go over the lesson plan. And it wasn't about religion. It was about having a relationship with God and fully understanding it. Which I mean, wow, I guess what I'm trying to say was I didn't just convert or accept. It was a total transformation of my life. And I finally got answers to things that have been bugging me my entire life, such as, why would a loving God put his children here on a battlefield behind enemy lines? That, that doesn't sound very loving, right?
Right? Yeah.
I mean, and it's not pleasant being here. Obviously, everybody suffers to different degrees. But the way it was explained to me, finally, is that let's just call this world originally was the headquarters of Lucifer or Enki or whatever you want to call him. He's got a lot of different names and titles, but this was where the rebellion started, the angelic rebellion. They preceded us. I think everybody pretty much agrees. We were not the first ones. This is not really our world. It is their world. And God put us here for a reason, and the reason is when Lucifer lost the war in heaven and was confined here, imprisoned here, he appealed his sentence in the court of heaven, and he said, I accuse you, God, of being unjust, untruthful, and unloving. Now, the angels that were following Lucifer already felt they were on board pretty much with whatever they were all in with him. Yeah. But the other angels that heard this, that were watching that proceeding, that cast doubt in their minds. So God had to come up with a plan, and we're part of that plan. So the fact that he knew we were gonna be tempted and fall, just like the fallen angels. They were going to manipulate us, right, into serving them and acting like them, pulling us into their kingdom. And however, there are those of us, including myself, who have survived it and just said, no, I still love God. I trust him. I love him. And I know he loves us. And he is truthful. He is honest, but he also has rules, and I learned the hard way. I think we all do, is there's consequences when we break the rules. But the rules are there to protect everybody, just like when you drive a car, right? You know what I mean? You can't just do whatever you want.
That's right.
That there be wrecks a lot more. If there was no rules on the road, it would be worse than it is now. So,
and Robert, I was just saying earlier that it seems like this planet was not made for us because it's just so dangerous to humans.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally understand that, but there had to be an explanation, and I was not going to rest until I found it. However, I couldn't find it without his help, because none of us would be here, nothing would be here without him. But the other question is, well, okay, if you're omnipotent, you know everything, you see everything, you're everywhere all the time, and you know the end from the beginning, how did you not see this coming? Well, obviously he did, and he had a plan. And like I said, we're part of that plan. We're here. Now here's this, let me just get to the point, because I know people are going, what are you talking about, Robert? In the judgment day, we who have been harmed by these fallen ones are going to testify as witnesses against them, because we have standing legally. And that's why it says in the Bible that we would judge angels. It doesn't say fallen angels. It should, but it doesn't. There's a lot of things that are missing from the Bible and other books, but by design, because the first casualty of war is truth. So we're getting a lot of propaganda here, but I'm just trying to make a point. We actually are serving a purpose even before we get to the judgment day, the final throne of judgment. We are living testimony that even though God permits us to suffer at the hands of these fallen ones, the demons, Nephilim, whatever you want to call them, Archons, all the, we still love God, and we are blessed by him when we follow the rules and have a relationship with him. And if not, then there's consequences for that. I know, because I lived through it. I was my own worst enemy. And I want people to hear me clearly on this. We tend to want to externalize the enemy. The greatest enemy on earth right now for all of us is ourselves. Because if we choose with our free will, which God gave us, to not have a relationship with him, then there's going to be serious consequences, and it will ensure that we remain under the influence, the influence of Satan, the adversary, Enki, the light bearer, whatever you want to call him. He and his kingdom is very limited, but it's very evil. Obviously, we see that with the Epstein files, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and people they're completely dumbfounded by the level of evil that they're learning about now, that exists in the highest places on this world, but they shouldn't be, because historically this was God's complaint from the very beginning. I mean, that's why he chose certain tribes to go in and literally kill his enemies. So,
well, yeah, it might be coming again.
yeah, obviously it's not over yet. That's the problem. So even though they lost the battle, the appeal process continues, and it will wrap up at some point permanently. But the problem is we live very short lives by design. We've been genetically modified by these. I know some people, like that, you follow Sitchin's work. Some of these people are saying, oh no, they created us from apes or whatever, and to be their slaves. That's not, in my opinion, that's not accurate. But they would love for us to be their slaves, and they can only get us to do that if we agree to it.
Honestly, I always say, to me, we're slaves now. I mean,
yes,
most of us on this planet aren't doing what we want to do. We're doing what we have to do because we need to make money to pay the bills, and so, and that's probably not why we were put here. We were here, for another reason.
So, but that's another reason why God came in the form of Jesus. When he did, the way he did, was to offer us an off-ramp, crossroads, an exit strategy, so we could be redeemed, because we've been so badly contaminated genetically, spiritually, mentally, everything. We've been so... And like I said, though, there's a purpose to all this, Mike. It's hard for us to imagine it, but I'm just laying it out there.
Sure. When
we actually get to the final judgment, and those of us who testify are credible and have standing legally because we've been harmed by them, that's the final nail in their coffin for them, and they're going to be in prison for eternity. Well, why? It's not because God is sadistic. It's because he's very logical, and he created their souls to be immortal, just like our souls are immortal. So what do you do with them? Well, you're certainly not going to bring them to the new heaven and new earth and a new universe, because then the whole cycle will start all over again.
Yeah.
So they have to be in prison. So this is where it gets a little bit interesting, I think. Hell is just a holding area, and the lake of fire, it's not a lake. It's, the way it was described to me, is it's a supermax prison. It's not even in this universe. It's somewhere else. It's like if you can imagine a star that's been converted into a prison, and when those individuals are locked in there, into their cells, the level of torment is equivalent to whatever torment and pain that they had caused when they were free to roam around and do whatever. So they've lost all their privileges, and they are imprisoned forever. But they're doing it in a way that they don't have anybody else to blame but themselves, and it has to be forever, because if you let them out, they're going to just keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies.
Yes.
They put the villains in the piece of glass and sent them out into space.
Exactly, but on a larger scale. I mean, I really don't know how many of the angels fell, but they certainly have recruited a lot of us along the way. And that was another thing I couldn't understand. It's like, so what is the purpose of, I was asking my pastor, why do they want to get as many of us onto their side as possible? And he said it was because it would, he thought, now this is not in the Bible, but his perception after 50 plus years of actually studying and working as a pastor who does deliverance of demons, he said that the goal was to, if they could get enough of us over to the dark side, that God would have to modify his the punishment. And that didn't make sense to me until recently. So here's a scenario: if enough of us actually, who were going to testify against them in the final judgment, were somehow brought into the satanic kingdom, or kept us in here with them, then yeah, we wouldn't be in a position to testify against them. So that could possibly be it, but I kind of doubt it. It seems like a desperate act to me, but
Yeah.
pretty much everything they do is just impossible for us to. It's irrational.
How's an Archon and a what some would call a demon? How do they differ? Are they?
Yes, that's a good point. Okay, so again, this is part of my deep dive into this Christian dynamics, so-called. The demons are actually the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, which were the hybrid offspring of fallen angels and human women, which should tell you something about. I know people argue, well, they never had physical bodies. So, excuse me, you cannot impregnate. That wouldn't work. It says there they took wives. They landed on a mountain. They came down. They lived among us. They were compatible with us. Obviously, we were created by the same person, God. And yeah. Anyway, but their offspring were something horrendous, monstrous, but when they died, their spirits were bound to the earth because their whole family is imprisoned here, so they're not welcome. They couldn't go anywhere else, and so what they do is that's where possession comes in, and it's not always what you think of as like what we're shown on the TV or movies. It's not that extreme. It could be somebody with literally like road rage, or you see a lot of these people on social media that they make no sense. They're just like frantic, Yeah, they don't, and they're not rational at all, and they're just acting out. You think, well, they're having a tantrum. No, that's typically, if you know anything about demons, I've told you guys this before. I learned it the hard way with the help of God, is that because they don't have a connection to God anymore, they have to get energy from somewhere. So what they do is when we humans harm ourselves or others, the DNA emits a dissonant or dark light that they can then absorb, and it's similar to the movie The Matrix. You know how we were a battery for the whatever the cyborg or Matrix thing, computers. We're their energy source. So okay, so the other thing was the Archon itself is a higher ranking, like I think it would be closer to say that those are the higher ranking fallen angels that have been given territories or dominion over certain sections of the planet, and that is pretty well explained in the Bible about like the 10 kingdoms. Kingdoms are not, I mean, we always think it's a person. No, it's not. It's like I said, it was their plan to begin with. It was their headquarters. It is still their headquarters actually, but they're just very limited. They've been very, very sequestered here. I guess I should be more specific. They still have bases, obviously cities under the ground, under the ocean, and orbiting the earth. So so they have some freedom, just like when you're in a prison, you can go out to the yard
Yeah.
and do whatever.
Right.
So it's kind of like that. They have some mobility, and that's the problem. A lot of these so-called UAPs and non-human intelligences, now they're calling them NHIs. Those are the demon, fallen angel, Nephilim, whatever. That's the other thing. The Nephilim were a hybrid, right, of these angels and whatever. Well, we see that in the abduction cases of UFOs. The literature is full of that. The people that are returned, some of them have talked about, the hybrid program.
Yeah.
So it's still going on.
I've had guests on years ago. I had a couple women on who claimed they were pregnant and they were abducted again, and then they weren't pregnant no more, and that they were actually brought back later to meet their child, and only that time though. That was it.
Was that Betty Andreasen? Luca?
Can't remember. It was
that sounds like
quite
her.
a while ago.
She's one of them anyway. Yeah, I remember reading about that. People have been very honest, I think. Now, I heard a little bit of your interview with Preston Dennett last night, and I have to take issue with one of the things that he said, that these otherworldly beings have already disclosed. Well, obviously, people have seen them, and some of us have even interacted with them. But officially, you may have noticed, officially, they have not given a statement on the record to the public as to who they are, why they're here, and what is our relationship to them. So I am extremely skeptical about their motives, the fact that they can be here covertly. Yeah, okay, I've seen them plenty of times, but did they communicate directly with me? No. Indirectly, I found out, that, like we're having this discussion now, that some of them are clearly benevolent and or criminal, and they are they've been here even longer than we have. So it's very complicated. And here's the other thing: our government knows a lot more than they're saying. I mean, the deep state obviously knows, because they have a relationship. They are collaborating with these cosmic criminals, and that's not new either. If you read Enoch, the first Enoch specifically is more accurate in my opinion. We learned that they have been giving us things in order for us to be more useful to them, such as weapons of war and drugs and jewelry, cosmetics, and things that they enjoy. They want us to emulate them.
All right. Yeah. Well, it seems then that so they're here. Then they're living within the planet, and they have
under the ocean. Yeah, and people like Burchett, Representative Burchett and Burleson and Luna and Gates, they're all coming out now and saying this to different degrees. They're calling them interdimensional beings. They're saying they live under the ocean, et cetera, et cetera. But they're not. They're gradually bringing us up to the point of no return, which is okay. Some of these guys are criminals, but we can't control them.
Barack Obama said the aliens are real.
Yeah, he kind of blurted that out, and supposedly Trump's going to make a statement. Not that I really care, because at this point, I've known this for. It was already proven to me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, that's what I say. Disclose. I'm not waiting for disclosure because it's already been disclosed to me. But it'd be nice to see these guys land.
Yeah, officially, yes and no. I mean, look, if you ever read the Brookings report back from the 50s, that's a think tank in Washington, D.C. for people who don't know. They had sent a briefing to NASA stating that their manned and unmanned missions in space would lead them to encounter alien beings and or their artifacts, and to not disclose to the public because it had the potential to destabilize society. And they gave different categories. The top group that would literally lose their mind was scientists, and then below that was religious leaders, and then whatever. So this was, and that thinking, that briefing has been the template in Washington D.C. for decades now.
But the scientists and the religious leaders have already lost their minds. So, I mean,
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, here's the thing. They really what I read it to mean is that they don't want to lose their positions of authority over us. They don't want the competition.
Yeah.
So, right. So they don't want to have to answer to these angels were created to be more advanced, and they're older, so-called angels or whatever you want to call them, aliens. It's really not a good idea to call them aliens because they're not foreign. You know, they're related to us. They've been here longer than us. It's kind of wrong thinking to call them foreigners, but the relationship we've had with them is very complicated, and I would like it to improve, but I kind of don't see that happening. It seems to me anyway that it's going to get worse before it gets better, because if what I told you earlier is true, that they're coming up on a final judgment, they are going to grow increasingly desperate and dangerous. So when I say deep state, I'm really talking, those guys are just puppets. They're errand boys for the fallen angels, because the god of this world, the lord of this world, is Lucifer, the light bearer. Like I said, he's known by many names. Some people, say he's our god. Well, and he's not my god anymore. It's like, I made the transition. I'm no longer a citizen or a slave in his kingdom. I was ransomed out. So it wasn't easy, but yeah, here's the way Jesus said it was, be in the world but not of it, which is kind of a vague way of saying I'm just visiting, and I'm no longer under the authority of these fallen angels.
Well, yeah, I mean, life goes by in a flash. A lot of these young people, they have no idea until, one day they're going to wake up and say, ooh, wow, what happened?
Well, unfortunately, we've been, like I said, badly manipulated and also polluted physically, spiritually, mentally. And so now, especially with COVID and all the other things that they introduced into us physically, mentally, the news was just reporting the other day that college students are at a 5th grade level, like a 10-year-old, at their reading abilities.
Yeah.
So that's by design. That was not an accident. So,
oh yeah, we got some of the worst around the world. I mean, we're being beaten up by a lot of other countries, and that is by design. You're right.
Yeah. So, well, this country's always been a threat because of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, and just the general spirit here was to be, towards freedom, mm-hmm. and trusting God, having a relationship, giving thanks to God for everything, not government.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that kind of flies in the face of all the other satanic stuff that's going on. But so, do you know anything about Kabbalah?
Kabbalah, no.
Most people don't. I didn't. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I never really understood it until last year. That was part of the curriculum that my pastor / professor told me. Well, you're done with your Christian dynamics now after 4 months or whatever it was. And he says, I want you to read my books on Kabbalah, not to practice it, but to understand how dangerous it is and where it comes from, etc., and who's doing it and why. And I'll just summarize it to you this way.
Yeah.
People that are Satanists, Kabbalah is their religion. And some people just say it's Jewish. It isn't. It's to Babylon and beyond. It's way back. I mean, I believe it is the original theology of Lucifer and his fallen angels that they supposedly gave us for this, the knowledge of good and evil. So here's the thing: they believe, those practitioners of this thing believe that it's okay to say, "Oh, I'm Jewish or I'm Christian or I'm a Muslim," and at the same, but they're not. They're clearly just saying that so that they can infiltrate and dominate. And ultimately, they believe that by doing evil, it will hasten the arrival of their Savior, their Messiah, and their 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 level or form of government that they want will be, the so-called Antichrist. That's going to be that's their goal, is basically to make that happen. They think that's a good thing. So the reason I'm telling you this is because a lot of people don't. It's hard. We don't think like they do. Let's put it that way. And like, so I would never do evil thinking that somehow that's going to be a good thing, but they do. And they're in every walk of life is what I'm trying to say. They have infiltrated into everything. It's not just religion. They're in the judicial system and military and you name it.
Yeah, total infiltration.
Yep.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I remember I had read the Bible, and then a friend of a friend, we were visiting, and he had sitting on his shelf the Satanic Bible. And I remember picking it up and reading it just because I wanted to, see what, this kid was kind of off the rocker, he had satanic stuff everywhere. Yeah. And I want to know why he was so interested in it. I'm reading it, and it's like, I could see where the weaker mind would be pulled in by that, because it makes sense to somebody who has no knowledge of spiritual things. It's why would like you said, why would a loving God do this? Why would a loving God do that? And and if the weaker mind would say, yeah, that's right, so and so
right. So the conflict, it's still going on, but it's not as kinetic as it originally was. There apparently, this is the thing I brought up Atlantis. I think I said Atlantis. Originally, they just called this world was like what we think of as Atlantis. It was the technology was very high and all this stuff, and most people say, well, they destroyed themselves. I disagree. They were destroyed by external forces, which is the angels that are loyal to God came in and had basically kicked them out after everywhere else and forced them back here on this planet, and then just wrecked the place.
One researcher told me, Frank Joseph Hoff, he told me that there was a researcher, Dr. Santos, I think his name was, and who had researched, and what they came up with was that a nuclear weapon was dropped into a volcano, and that's what took out Atlantis. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if anyone will ever know if that's true, but he said there was they were at war. There was two Atlantises or something like that, and one of them put a nuke down into the volcano, and so
well, whatever it was, the planet was wrecked, and it's in the Bible in Genesis, but it's very difficult if you don't know how to read it. You could just gloss over it. It's called the gap theory, but that was one of the most shocking things when I'm at the ministry, right, and I'm so blown away by everything that's happening, and my pastor says, well, you're going to need a Bible, and so I went out and got one he recommended. And then he was signing it, and he goes, and he pushes it back across the table towards me, and he goes, this is not perfect, right? I'm like, what? What are you saying, man? That's like the last thing on earth I would ever expect a pastor to say to me, because that's what I've thought my whole life, and I said, why? And he goes, because it's incomplete. And I'm like, okay. And he says, if everything was in that, if they tried to put it all in one book, first of all, you could never carry it. It would take you years to read it if and he says, most people don't comprehend what little is in there, let alone the more advanced stuff like what I was studying with him after going through this process. and reading the Bible, but also doing these courses that he offered for free. You know, I mean, the thing is, Mike, I'm trying to explain something here. I could never have envisioned this. I wouldn't even, like in my wildest dreams, like where would I dial up somebody like this to give me that kind of information? You know, I mean, and literally just like welcome me into his world and say, hey, I mean, we don't always see eye to eye with everything, but I'll tell you how I met this guy was through John B. Wells. I've gotten to know John and his wife, Brandy, and I've been on their show a few times, and I was, you know, so I listen occasionally, and there's just this guy, my pastor, John, another guy named John from Sweden, and he was on with John B. Wells, and they were talking about supernatural healing. And he said, you know, and he gave out some contact information. So I wrote to him after the show, said, can you help my wife? And he wrote me back almost immediately on like, okay, this is wild. And, you know, he said, read this and then we'll talk tomorrow. I mean, that's unheard of, man. It's just so,
Yeah.
But the way he explained it to me, he says, what this is, what we're doing, he says, this was preordained or divine appointments that have been set in motion. So even though we have free will, God also has free will too. It's like moving pieces around on a chessboard. I mean, that's probably not the best analogy, but he can kind of guide and steer us in ways, even if we don't understand it fully. He knows, like I explained to you before, he knows a lot more than we do.
Yeah.
It's described, as I said, I think I said this before, sorry. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts, because he's at a completely different level of understanding and authority. And so obviously it's better to work with him, but most people think that they have to go through religion. And that was the other thing my pastor told me. I keep calling him now pastor. He's really just a friend, but you know, that's his title. Anyway, he said, he told me, he goes, I want to be clear with you. I'm not religious and God is not religious. I'm like, well, that's good, because neither am I, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, that works. But I mean, I was in such a state of shock. I'm like, this is like tailor-made. I couldn't even ask for something that wasn't more perfectly suitable for my psyche at that moment.
Yeah.
And you know, plus I'd been humbled. I was no longer I mean, I was so concerned about my wife. It didn't matter to me about my own preconceived notions or misconceptions, whatever. I had a lot of prejudices going there.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's my thoughts on it all too, with God is of no religion. I mean, you think back even in Jesus' time, none of this religious stuff, you know, existed. It was
not like we have now.
No.
It got way worse after he left, but
and so everyone makes up their own rules and then they fight about it.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. That's not happening in a vacuum. That's why I was prefacing this conversation by saying that, you know, we live on a battlefield and we're here for a purpose, but not to engage directly, because we cannot overcome this adversary. God's adversary has greater capacity than we do. That's been demonstrated to me and others way too many times. And again, that's why the government doesn't want to tell us the whole truth, is because it makes them look inept, incompetent, whatever. So this is important that we're talking about it now, because a lot of people aren't even thinking this way, and you need to prepare. People do need to prepare themselves on every level, physical, mental, spiritual, for the fact that this is, we're heading towards, some people call it end times, but it's just the end of the conflict that's been raging for I don't know how long, too long in my opinion. But again, we have a very limited lifespan, and those guys as far as I know, that doesn't matter to them, not the way we look at it, you know. So
yeah.
Thousands of years, millions of years, whatever, that's not how they're looking at it.
All right, Robert, hang out with me for a few minutes. I want to take a break, and then we'll come back and talk some more of some listener questions as well. So we'll be back, folks. Get over to the website, MikeVara.com. I've got my guests linked up there. You click on the photo, it's right underneath upcoming guest, and you'll see it right on the homepage. Click on that, it'll take you over to his neck of the woods. Go to MikeVara.com, you're in my neck of the woods. And don't forget, hit the donate button, because without you, there is no us. Late Night in the Midlands on the VARA Radio Network, coming at you live out of Columbia, South Carolina, folks. We'll be back in just a few minutes on this Wednesday night.
There's a light above the tree line, moving where no light should go. Every night another question, every night we want to know, are we alone? Are we dreaming?
From the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, on the east coast of these United States, you're tuned in to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Mike Vara. To ask a question to Mike, just send your questions through the Late Night portal located on our homepage at www.mikevara.com.
Midlands with Mike Vara. Turn the radio louder. There's a story in the air.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
I'm Art Bell, and you're listening to Late Night in the Midlands with Mike Vara.
Tune in to Late Night in the Midlands with host Mike Vara, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the VARA network.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
Use promo code LNM for a free month of service and help support this radio station while giving yourself some of the best service you can ask for.
Start your day with Late Night in the Midlands coffee. Small batch roasted in the USA for bold, fresh flavor. Choose from smooth decaf, rich radio blend with notes of dark chocolate and caramel, or bright Columbia single origin with citrus and melon tones. Available whole bean or ground in 12-ounce bags. Order now at mikevara.com. Late Night in the Midlands coffee. Every sip has a story. Start your day with Late Night in the Midlands coffee. Small batch roasted in the USA for bold, fresh flavor. Choose from smooth decaf, rich radio blend with notes of dark chocolate and caramel, or bright Columbia single origin with citrus and melon tones. Available whole bean or ground in 12-ounce bags. Order now at mikevara.com. Late Night in the Midlands coffee. Every sip has a story.
The search is over. You found us.
You're listening to the VARA network.
Late night in the Midlands.
From the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, on the east coast of these United States, you're tuned in to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Mike Vara. To ask a question to Mike, just send your questions through the Late Night portal located on our homepage at www.mikevara.com.
A shape in the dark that you can feel. Old world stories don't fade away. They wait for night, they wait for day. They walk at midnight when the world is asleep. Through the hollow woods and the mountain deep. Bigfoot shadows in the white.
from the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, on the east coast of these United States. You're tuned into Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Mike Vara. To ask a question to Mike, just send your questions through the Late Night portal located on our homepage at www.mikevara.com.
A shape in the dark that you can feel. Old world stories don't fade away. They wait for night, they wait for day. They walk at midnight when the world is asleep. Through the hollow woods and the mountain deep. Bigfoot shadows and the watchers unseen. Right here between what is and what's been. Late night in the Midlands. Turn it up loud. Where the unexplained still hunts through the crowd. UFO, ghost light, something in the trees tonight. Keep your ears on the broadcast. You never know.
All right, we are back after all that. This is Late Night in the Midlands. I am Mike Vara, and we're coming at you live from the VARA Radio Network. I should probably tell you other places if you want to watch. If you want to watch the show, Robert and I are both on camera. You can get that over on YouTube. And yeah, back on YouTube and on Rumble. So those two places for video, audio, radio, whatever. MikeVara.com. You got the Paranormal Radio app, the alternative media radio app, and you have TalkStream Live. Also, that's another app. So on those, and then of course after the fact we're everywhere. Spotify, just you name it, we're there. All right, so let's get back to it. Don't forget the website, MikeVara.com, and I have my guest linked up there as well. So all right, let me get things back. Oh, I'm missing. Oh, there he is. All right, so Robert, we're back, and so I was wondering, what would be some telltale signs, I guess, because you say that these things can manipulate people without them even realizing it. These Archons, right? These entities.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, and so what would be? How do people know? How do you recognize it?
You mean when it's happening to you?
Yeah. If it's happening to you, I mean, how does one go about recognizing that? Like, I'm sure they're good at what they do.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've struggled with that myself, and obviously nobody wants to admit that. And more importantly, I think once you realize it, what do you do about it? It's like Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Well, you're going to call an exorcist if you're Catholic. I don't know if that always works. I have my doubts about that.
Real quick, I remember seeing a video of this Catholic priest. He went into the house. It was real. Went into the house to cleanse the house. You see him come running out. He ran out, and they says he wouldn't come back. And I just wonder, well, that tells you about his faith.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's the lack of authority. And here's what I learned, which I had no idea until it happened to me, was that these people that do the deliverance, they say they can't do it for someone who is not saved, who is really not a Christian, I guess is the term. So
Bill Bean, he does that.
Yeah, there's quite a few people. I found out later. If they charge money, that's usually a really bad sign.
Yeah.
But I would just be very cautious about who you deal with. If you actually come to the realization that you are afflicted, I think is a better word than just possessed. Because honestly, we're all considered possession or property of the fallen angels here on this world through their front groups like the Vatican and others. The City of London, and the way that the birth certificates, show us that we're a fictional person or entity, right? A corporation. Each one of us is incorporated into their kingdom, their satanic kingdom. So there's a lot of different ways that they ensnare us. So when we talk about possession or infections of these satanic or spiritual parasites, it's not obvious. I wish I had a way to just tell you for sure how a person can tell themselves. But if typically people don't want to admit it, that they're hearing voices or having thoughts that are really not their own, or wish that they could control it, but it's controlling them. It can be very subtle, or it can be just super overt, like in your face, like. So it goes from mild to wild. There's different degrees, and I'll tell you something else that really floored me is I thought I misunderstood that we cannot save ourselves from this situation. We have to be saved, and it's a gift of grace to be redeemed. But first, you got to apologize. It's kind of a weird. It's an interesting dynamic, all right. But you're never going to go there unless you like. For me, I thought that, or misunderstood that if you just do good deeds, then you're going to go to heaven. That's what I thought. I really believe that. Actually, when I got to the ministry, Mike, I thought I'd already been delivered and baptized. Yeah. Until I started to yes, I really believe that until I talked to the pastor at length.
I always figured as long as you don't do bad enough, bad things like rob people, kill people.
Yeah,
that kind
exactly.
Of,
that's what I thought too. Apparently, that's not correct. At least that's my understanding now. Those are God's rules, and so again, asking for His forgiveness. It's called repenting.
So what happens if your time comes, and now what do you sit outside the gate? How's that work?
My understanding is you're gonna go into the holding area. Some people call it hell or Tartarus or whatever. Yeah, it is not a pleasant place, but it's not as bad as those. I don't know why they're holding them here in the earth at this, whatever this holding area is. I'm not sure why they're not just sending them straight off to the Supermax prison, other than the fact that there has to be a final judgment. And so I just assume that's what the delay is. They do that in prisons a lot. They'll move you from one prison to another.
Yeah.
Depending on the circumstances. So I get the feeling that's what's going on here. But I don't think it's going to go on much longer. I know it feels like forever for us, again, because we have short lifespans. I'm 66 now. And I wasn't ready to have a relationship with God on His terms until last year. And it was only because my wife was critically ill, that I was humbled enough to say, okay, I give up. I'm not going to keep running from you and acting like. And here's the thing: the reason I was scared when I first met him face to face back in 1985 was because I did not want to be judged. Not just people saying, "Oh, you're crazy." You might have noticed historically what happens to people that say they're Christians.
I want to say this. I was saying myself, based on what I have seen with my own eyes, it seems like the ones that are the most churchiest, I'll just say, bad things happen.
Yes, because they're faking it, basically. To put it on like just plain English, it's just like they're going through the motions, but they're not really having a relationship with God. They're having a relationship with religion and a church. My pastor said it's like being a member of a country club.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be kicked out, so you just conform to whatever. Yeah, the group think.
Yeah, yep. I've since I've been to South Carolina, I've been to 2 churches, and one was kind of weird. People were acting like they were in a concert. They were lighting lighters and swaying back and forth. I mean, I was like, and they were just singing like churchy songs. Then the other one was like kick ass. I mean, they had a band up on the stage, and I mean, they were pretty jamming pretty good with some. It was some Christian music, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've been to 2 churches. You know, I went. One was a funeral, and the other was just support. You know.
Yeah. So I never spent much time in church. I didn't really spend much time reading the Bible. But you know, all that changed last year. I still am not devout in that I follow the religious doctrine.
You can listen to the Bible nowadays. You don't even have to read it.
Okay, so but here's the problem. There's a lot of different versions, and in my opinion, based on a lot of study in a short amount of time, is they're all missing a lot of pieces, and that's on purpose, because if we're someone's slave, I think I told you this years ago, when the Africans who were enslaved and sold to us over in Africa, when they got here, it was illegal to teach them how to read and write, because they knew that if they became educated, they'd be harder to control. So that's true for all of us, and that's what I said before about the level of reading has dropped, or comprehension or just consciousness in general has been severely damaged, so that we will be more compliant and more useful to the Satanists that rule this world. But ultimately, they lose. In the end, this is inevitable. I mean, the end has already been written, from my understanding. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, sometimes things look so ugly when you're looking from the inside out. It looks so ugly. You just think something's got to give.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so obviously we see what's going on in the Middle East. That's not new. It's been going on like that for thousands of years. Yeah. Right, but here's the thing. The reason God chose a certain group of people was and the first group, you remember what happened when Moses came down off the mountain? They went back to worshiping, false idol, golden calf, whatever. And they got punished for that severely.
Yeah.
So that's why they had to wander for so many years in the desert, is because God was working with them to mold them to be a certain way that was actually going to be beneficial to him, which is what I'm going to tell you now, is that it's in the Bible, by the way. It's really, people say, oh, God is a bloodthirsty killer. He orders them to go and kill, and more kill, right? Well, yeah, but these are his adversaries, the adversaries of God. And that's why when they entered the land of Canaan, they killed everybody and took over the land, because that God promised them, look, if you do this, if we have a deal, okay, we have a contract, a covenant, I want you to go in there and do this, and if you do it, then you can have the land. Okay, then they called it, after they took Canaan from the Canaanites, they called it Palestine. The whole thing, the Holy Land, was called that whole thing, not a little strip. The whole thing was called Palestine. However, God warned them that if they didn't keep their end of the bargain, he was going to turn his back on them, and they were going to suffer and be cast to the wind, scattered across the world. And that happened. In fact, Jesus even told them, he said, you guys, you did it again. The first temple fell because you turned your back on God. The second temple is going to be destroyed. And it was. And it hasn't been rebuilt. And not that it matters, because God's not going to, even if they built a third temple, God is not going to dwell there. The false God, the fallen one, certainly will. But anyway, I'm trying to explain when they were scattered out into the world, they did this under duress, and they worshipped false or foreign gods. most of them. So what happened is, by the time they had an opportunity to come back, which they manufactured, God didn't do that. God didn't do the Balfour Declaration. That was all done by you people we probably shouldn't talk about, the guys that pull all the strings.
Yeah.
So they orchestrated this whole thing where they could return, but under a false pretense, and that's why they renamed it now. Is not real, is now the new Holy Land, and it's full of holes, all right, but not for a good reason. It's,
Yeah.
it's they have this mentality that is really not based in Judaism. It's what I said before about the Kabbalah and the Talmud. It's actually quite shocking if you knew the details of what they really, the way they believe is. It's hardcore. So you've got Sharia law, which is like, you believe what we believe, you do what we say, or we chop your head off, right?
Yeah.
Right. And on the flip side of that, that's obviously satanic. The flip side of that is the Noahide law, and that is not. That's not part of the Mosaic law of that God gave to Moses. That is not it at all. It's what Jesus stood up against, and that's why they wanted to kill. Well, ultimately they did physically kill him, and then he rose again. But the bottom line is that the Noahide law and Sharia law are two sides of the same coin. That they want to. Anybody who's not willing to serve in that system is going to be sacrificed.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It seems to be getting its hold in New York City there.
You think?
Just a little bit.
In Michigan has fell, and parts of Texas, and so on. It's like
Yeah.
they're calling this loosely the Red-Green Alliance. You might have probably heard that, right?
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah.
All right. So for people who don't know what that is communism and Islam have combined because they have the same motive, which is to conquer the world as we know it. The Western world needs to be destroyed
Yeah.
in order for them to rise up. The problem is, like I said before, the people really pulling the strings, they want all three of these Abrahamic religions to attack each other so that they can collapse and then be replaced by this other one world religion.
Yeah. Yeah. And so.
Which is Kabbalah. It's Kabbalah. I don't care what they call it. I know what it is.
So that being said, then it'd be safe to say that demonic attachments are on the uprise these days.
Well, there's a limited amount of them. Oh, so thanks for bringing this up. So here's what happened. This is the difference between the way the Catholics do it and the way the evangelicals do it. During my experience, the 4 people that were there, this was quite a process, by the way. They do an inventory, and you like auditing, and you go through a lot. It's not like you just walk in the door and go boom, yeah, sure, all your demons are gone. You have to work up to it. And anyway, what they do is they call in the holy angels that are loyal to God, and they say, we're asking you, because you're authorized to do it, not us. We're asking you to arrest the demonic spirits that are afflicting Robert and take them to prison, and do not let them out. So this is one of the reasons why I feel like Catholics don't do it like that. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here, but Catholic priests, exorcists, they seems to me like they remove them from one person and just let them go down the street to the next guy. That's it's sort of a job insurance, but for them, but it's crazy. It doesn't solve the problem.
And from my understanding, if you're doing an exorcism, whoever's doing it better not have any skeletons in the closet, because the demon will expose those.
Yes, absolutely, they do. They're not stupid, but they are evil. Okay, so, and they're also very well organized. With its networking, like serious. There's an administration that they have, and that was originally from heaven, They have a very hierarchical such structure of administration, because logistically it's really hard to run a universe or
I
universes,
bet.
right? Okay, so, and I'm sure they've got advanced AI. They've had it for way longer than we even existed. That
I
helps
think
them.
I think past civilizations have had it.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm saying even throughout all of creation, that was kind of a norm. Like technology, that was the other thing. Because my pastor was an engineer in Sweden before he came to America and became a pastor, he looks at things very technically, and he said God is a person and he has technology. He has what we consider to be highly advanced technology. We just don't understand it, and he doesn't need to explain it to us. Eventually, I'm sure it'll all be made clear. But the point is that his angels, they had access to the similar technology, clearly, because they were helping him build worlds. And unfortunately, some of them decided to wander off into the dark side and become destroyers of worlds. And apparently this was known to God. He knew the potential was there. When he gave everybody free will, there was a purpose to that. He didn't want just a bunch of automatons.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was the potential for the rebellion, which did happen. So, but it's going to be resolved. It really is. And I think the reason we're even talking about it is so people can hopefully make a very wise, well-informed decision while there's still time. You either have a relationship with God or you don't. And to me, again, it's not about religion. It's that is people talking about something but not actually doing it. It's like people that do. I know people love to watch sports, right? And they talk about it and they know every last thing about it, but they're not actually on the field playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. So some people call this, really, when you're engaged, it's called spiritual warfare, but that doesn't mean you're going out and being aggressive about it. It's a lot of times it's just praying and praying to God and his holy angels, like a forward observer. Like we're boots on the ground. They're just like, hey, this is a problem. It's not like I'm always saying, hey, help me. A lot of times prayers, we were supposed to pray for other people.
Yeah.
Just it's a way of it's a communication system. All right. And
yeah, it is. Yeah.
It definitely works in ways that I didn't even know was possible until recently.
Yeah, prayer definitely does work. I don't know how it works. I just know it does.
Well, it's like a car. Most people don't know how their car works either. I mean, fundamentally, as long as you turn the key or whatever, push a button and it works, they're like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, until it don't. Yeah. Hey, I got some listener questions here. Sarah in Arizona. Robert, can a person unknowingly bring something home after visiting a supposedly haunted location?
Absolutely. They're called hitchhikers. A lot of people have been talking about this for the Skinwalker Ranch. And
yeah, what do you think about that Skinwalker Ranch?
Yeah, it's a portal. There's an interdimensional nature to reality that we have limitations. We can't access it as easily as these other beings that we're discussing here. You call them angels or whatever, NHIs, but they definitely are interdimensional beings. God is an interdimensional being. So the only ones that would hitchhike like that are the ones that are benevolent. Malevolent. Sorry, I got that backwards. It's getting late here. Late night in Robert Stanley's mind. They're malevolent, like a parasite, and unless you want them to, unless you invite them, they shouldn't be doing that. So this is one of the reasons that we pray every night, ask God for protection. What they call it, a full armor of God, but it's actually a shield of light that envelops us and keeps us from harm. But we have to ask every night, because he wants us to remember where it's coming from. Who's giving us this shield of protection from these entities. The other thing is, I've told you guys before, is the formula that was given to me, this process, is to remain calm in the midst of a crisis, to be kind when others are being cruel, to be creative when others are being destructive, and more importantly, to be courageous when others are being cowardly. All of those things I told you are increasing your resonance, and they hate that. They only feed off of dissonance. If they can't manipulate you into a realm, a state of dissonance or dis-ease, then they just back off, because there's plenty of low-hanging fruit for them to go to other people and get that from. So if you're strong, have a good resonant field, they will not attach themselves to you.
All right. James in Tennessee says, do you believe certain family bloodlines experience repeated demonic oppression, or is that just folklore?
No, it's true. And that was part of my process prior to deliverance, was breaking the generational curses that were upon me from my family. And that was painful, but it worked. It was super powerful. And I mean, on a personal level, there was things that I didn't know or didn't want to know that came up. And this generational curse essentially, is because we've been all of our ancestors have been affected and manipulated. We're all carrying a certain level of cursed behavior. In other words, we have to suffer the consequences because we're breaking the rules. They know how to manipulate us to get us to do that, because it serves their agenda, but it also puts us into jeopardy. So when you break the curses and you have a relationship with God, you're blessed. That's just a generic way of saying I'm in God's grace. Yes, saved is one thing, but you also want, that's just the first step towards breaking the curses, removing the demonic attachments, and then going into the higher, more complex or dynamic relationship with God and his holy angels.
Yeah, just about every day I have somebody come to me and say, can I give you this? They give me these little tiny Bible verses in these, little booklets. And
Okay.
it's just, just there's so many who go by, the religion part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Linda in Oregon. Linda says, I've heard people say objects like antique furniture, dolls, and old mirrors can carry attachments. Is there any truth to that?
I believe it is. In fact, when my wife and I got home after the deliverance ministry, we cleared our house out of a lot of objects. And some of it was easy, some of it was difficult. Some of it was considered priceless antiques or artifacts that I had to part with. And I'm glad I did. But it was still, part of me was so conditioned into thinking, oh, this is really important. I can't let this go. Actually, I had to. I really, when I inventoried my life, I realized how contaminated my house was with my wife and I too. But we were. That was one of the amazing things about it, how in sync we both were about the whole process. Otherwise, it would have been really hard to do.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's take a call here. We got 765 area code. You are up next. Who do we got?
Hey, this is Chris. Surf.
Hey, what's up, my man?
That's the one and only Surfer Nut.
Welcome aboard.
I want to say, Robert, you are something else, man. You're spot on. A lot of things you've been talking about tonight, I've actually talked personally with Michael about, and you're just you're spot on, and I appreciate you, man. You're really good. I just wanted to ask you though. I'm sure you've heard of the fallen ones that are locked up underneath the Euphrates River, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, I know that it says, doesn't it say that a human will release them from underneath there at the,
Yeah,
come
and
out
allegedly, I mean, I've seen it online. I don't know if it's true, but it looks like the Euphrates is drying up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They've got video of supposed recording their sounds from down there, but I don't know if I believe that stuff. But,
Yeah, well, everything is suspect now because of AI, and also just like I said, the first casualty of war is truth. The propaganda has gone through the roof, man. It's so hard. Well, this is why we Christians have to have discernment. But
oh yeah,
right. But that doesn't mean that we're always going to be on target. It's there's just so much. Everybody is overwhelmed right now, including myself, even though I'm a professional researcher and writer. It's like we're being bombarded with this garbage. This what they call it, slops, AI slop or whatever, everywhere I turn now. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's making it increasingly difficult to weed through it.
Discern.
And to discern what is real and look, Chris, I appreciate your comments. I just, the thing is, I can't express my gratitude enough publicly that God would take time to save me and to literally ransom me out of Satan's kingdom. Because, man, I thought I was out, and that's how deceptive it can be. And I'm not saying like I'm so smart that I don't know how he did it. Obviously, in retrospect, yeah, I see it clearly now how he tricked me. But I mean, I'm just a guy like everybody else that could. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm concerned. There's a lot of people out there that are listening to this, going, "Man, I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, man, you got to definitely towards the end there blurt out your websites and everything, because I definitely enjoy listening to what you're talking about. I for one have studied since I was a kid, so I know everything you're saying is just so spot on that I've discovered myself, and
yeah, we have to do that, Chris. We have to spend time studying, analyzing, contemplating, and then ultimately discerning through the Holy Spirit. If a person is truly connected, the Holy Spirit will guide them to have a higher level of awareness and protection, so that we're not deceived. Because I mean, look, he's the father of lies. From day one, as soon as we encountered him, he was lying to us, and he's still lying to us to this day.
Yep.
Once a liar, always a liar, as they say.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Man, there's just so much I want to ask you, but I want to give other callers a chance. You know what I mean? But
all right.
I'm Michael's tech guy.
Oh, yeah. All right. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. But yeah, I want to give other callers a chance if they'll call. I mean, I hope some will call in. But
all right,
running good. All right, nice to meet you.
Thanks,
Robert. You keep it up, man. I'll check out your websites and everything, man. I really enjoy listening to what you're saying, because I know it's the truth, and I discern it myself in my own being. I know you're right.
Thank you.
So you're welcome.
All
I'll be
right.
listening.
Thank you, Mr. Surf. Appreciate the call.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Night.
All right. Oh, doom. Okay. All right, here's a question in the portal. Michael in Buffalo, New York. Go Bills. Can someone accidentally invite an Archon or demonic entity into their life through meditation, spirit boards, or other occult practices? Meditation?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. So I think I told you this before. My dad was an ordained minister in California but he was a student of Yogananda, who allegedly brought transcendental meditation to America. It's one of the first, one of the most well known, and in my opinion, one of the worst offenders, because he was a master hypnotist. He studied that as a young man. He was a necromancer, and most people don't know this. I'm sorry to bring it up, but I know the inside story on the whole thing. And that was part of my generational curse. My dad was hypnotized by Yogananda when he was just a child. My grandfather brought him to one of these meetings, and Yogananda took a liking to him and hypnotized him. My dad was devoted to him until the day that Yogananda died. And so Yogananda, this isn't a public record, I'm not making it up. Yogananda's guru, teacher, whatever you want to call it, had stated publicly that Yogananda had demonic attachments because of the stuff that he was engaged in. And yet he taught him supposedly these higher advanced techniques of Kriya Yoga and other things, which to me makes no sense at all, other than the fact that my understanding is in India, religion is just looked at as basically a business, which obviously it is, but I mean, they treat it more like that than the way that Christians look at it as a path to salvation. Yeah. Yes, it's a business too, but it's a problem. So yeah, it was meditation, and what was the other stuff?
Spirit boards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's any of those things is like opening the door or leaving the door unlocked to your spirit, to your soul, and it interferes with. It's like I'm sorry, I repeat myself a lot.
No, that's all right.
My pastor said you're either filled with the Holy Spirit or you're filled with unholy spirits. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. It's universal for everybody. And a lot of people are deluded. They call it a strong delusion into thinking that they're filled with the Holy Spirit when in fact they are possessed. So their level of discernment is off. And like myself, I really didn't know. I was under a delusion. So it makes all the difference in the world, literally, to have directly have a relationship with a God without any interference.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's take another call. 682 area code. Who do we have? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Kid from Texas.
Hey, what's up, Kid?
How you doing? Hey.
Good.
Yeah. I got a question. I've been hearing voices, or people inside my head kind of conversating back and forth with each other for the past 10 years now, and
wow.
I feel like they're judging me.
Yeah.
They're constantly saying, "Let him come over," and a few of them say he's too crazy or whatever, and I feel like they think that I did something bad in my past.
Yeah.
And a few of them believe me, and a few of them don't believe me, and they're constantly fighting over me, back and forth, and it's just maddening. One night I got fed up with it, and something crazy happened to me. Like really, really crazy, like something I've never experienced before in my entire life. All right, I'll walk you through it real quick because I know the show is about to be over, but pretty much I was yelling at the voices. I got real mad one night because I just got fed up with listening to it, and all of a sudden, I'm in my room, it's nighttime, and all of a sudden the atmosphere completely changed. Okay. Like in my room, I had the light off and everything, and all of a sudden there was these holograms all over my walls, and one of them actually said "jackass" in red and yellow lettering, and a few of them I don't remember, But yeah, there were all these labels, and everything was just happening so fast. And then all of a sudden, in midair, there was these flowers, like it looked kind of like a hologram, you know. These flowers, the most vivid colors I've ever seen in my entire life, and they bloomed, and then they withered away, and then died off, and then it disappeared. So I'm thinking that they're telling me to either bloom or die, you know. And after the flowers disappeared, there was a shadow figure on the back end of my wall. He was wearing a cowboy hat and smoking a cigar, and he picks up his phone and puts it back down on the table like he's telling me to put my phone down, you know. And then after that, I have this like picture thing on the back of my wall. I live in a duplex, by the way, so I got neighbors like right behind me, you know.
Yeah.
And it zoomed in like a picture. I looked at the picture and it like kind of zoomed in, and it became a window, became some kind of window, and then all of a sudden I could see two people standing there just staring at me through the wall. And one of them was recording me. It was a mom and her daughter, and one of them was recording me. And so I say hello, and the daughter runs off into the other room laughing at me, and the mom's just still standing there holding her phone up, you know, recording me. And I get closer to the phone. It looks like an iPhone. And so I get closer to the wall because I'm amazed, you know. I'm just like, what is going on right now? And I got closer to the phone that she was holding, and she turned it around, put it on FaceTime. I saw my face on her phone through the wall, and she was live streaming, and there were over 20,000 people watching at the time. So I don't know where they. Yeah.
That's
and
that's
I
their
walked
domain.
Out of the room.
So look, I'm sorry to cut you off, but do you have something to write with?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got
all right. So I'd highly recommend you go to www.strategiesforovercomers.com and speak to Judy. Reach out to Judy. She's a friend of mine, and she's had a lot of success with helping people get rid of this. The so-called schizophrenia is an invasion of your soul, your psyche, by these interdimensional beings that we've been discussing tonight. And not everybody's successful at this, okay? But it's the fact that you called. That's my recommendation. So do you got that right? Strategiesforovercomers.com.
Strategiesforovercomers.com.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Please reach out to Judy, and she's helping a lot of people, and it's actually God. She's a facilitator. That's the other thing I should have mentioned, you guys, is the people that do the deliverance they're not doing it. They're facilitating it. They're causing an intercession on your behalf. But you know, you have to be willing to work through the process. It sounds to me like you've been at this 10 years is way too much for anybody. I'm surprised you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you're okay, but obviously you're not okay, right?
Oh, I got a strong will, man. I've been fighting these people for.
Yeah, but how much longer are you going to put up with this?
Yeah, I know.
It's definitely making a difference, not in a good way. I know. They did it to me too. Everybody's got different levels of this kind of affliction or manipulation. Excuse me.
Yeah.
They have that ability. The network that you saw is similar to the internet. In fact, they were the ones that gave us that technology. It's a copy of the technology I was telling you. The angels have their own technology, but they're using it to keep us enslaved, to manipulate us. So there's a way you can disconnect, and Judy will help you do that.
All right, good luck with that, kid. We're running out of time here, so I got to give the floor to you, Robert. Anything else you want to get out that you haven't, by all means, go ahead. I know they want your websites and all that, so go
we
for
got
it.
one.
Yeah.
And that's robertstanley.substack.com. It's there today. Could be gone tomorrow, just like myself. This isn't a game. It's for all the marbles, what we're doing. And I've already been warned to be, very careful that I'm on a hit list, not from the deep state, but from those who actually run this planet. They really hate these kind of conversations, Mike.
Yeah.
And the reports and stuff that I posted on my Substack, they would prefer that that's not there, but it is. So, for whatever reason, it's like, so I'm in this world, but I'm not of it. And I'm just visiting, and I'm trying not to like antagonize these fallen angels, but at the same time, the rest of us that they are messing with, like this, we have a right to know. And we also have, because we have free will, we have a right to choose. But I think the time for that is running out. So that's one of the reasons, even though I know it's dangerous for me to do this, to talk about them, to expose them openly like this, I'm doing it as an act of love. I'm not really their enemy. I'm a friend of God, doing the best I can to serve him, and he does love us. So I'm trying to express that for him to you and your audience, that to have whatever it takes, man, to have a better relationship with God. You better do it right as quickly as possible, because there's no guarantees that tomorrow isn't gonna just blow up completely.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, sorry. And here's the other thing. I apologize if I offended some people. I mean, it was nice hearing the feedback,
fine.
but I know whenever you talk about God, somebody's going to get offended, and if you hate me because I love God, then that's your problem, not mine. But I'm not intentionally coming on the air with you, Mike, to upset people. I'm trying to.
I understand.
It's a disclaimer. I feel like I have to explain to people. Well, because a lot of people are really very caught up in, they're like this anger. It's actually fear. What it is, they're so confused. Their consciousness has been so adulterated that they can't think straight. And if somebody comes along and starts talking like we're talking, they're like, it really upsets them. So, they just want us to shut up. But
all right,
anyway,
Robert, we're running out here. So but thank you so much for being here tonight, and keep doing what you do.
You too, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right, you too.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Have a good night. Be safe.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, you too.
All right, folks. There he goes, Robert Stanley. He's on it. He knows, man. He's got so much knowledge. I love talking to him. And I'll tell you, the night that I had my big sighting, I remember I've told the story a million times, came out to throw some trash out, just was talking with Robert Stanley that night about UFOs and lightning storms, and boom, there it was, or hoot, there it was. So amazing stuff, let me tell you. I'll be back with you on Friday, by the way, and don't forget to hit the donate button, because without you there is no us. And well, Robert, every time you're here you leave us with more questions and answers, and that's exactly why we enjoy having you on. Tonight we've explored ancient beliefs, modern experiences, spiritual warfare, archons, demonic attachments. Man, need I go on? Of course, the possibility that the greatest battles we face may not always be visible. Whether our listeners agree or disagree tonight or any night, or remain skeptical, the conversation reminds us to stay curious, think critically, and never stop searching for the truth. Thank you again, Robert, for spending part of your evening with us and sharing your latest research. It's always a pleasure, and we look forward to having you back again real soon. And everyone listening around the world, thank you for making Late Night in the Midlands part of your night. Until next time, keep your eyes posted to the sky, because you never know what you might see, and keep your ears posted to this broadcast, because you never know what you might learn. Good night, everybody. God bless.